Okay, we're back. I'm going to show you from beginning to end. Now the only materials that you need are scissors and either one of the very large safety pins or a piece of flexible wire. And so you would just take your wire here. Okay. And just bend it around into kind of a circle. Take those ends and wrap them around the center just to give you 2 loops. One is going to go through the material, the other one is going to hold the fabric. So that's basically it. It's very simple. So you can either use that, and this is what mine looks like after a while. It does kind of get bent up, and then you just make another one. Or if you don't have wire, you can just use a large, you want the largest that you can find, safety pin. Okay, so that's all the equipment that you need, but you do need material. And this is the first step that you're going to go through. So I've got a t-shirt here, as you can see, colorful t-shirt. And you just lay it out as flat as you can get it. And get it all straightened out here. And just cut the seam off of the bottom. That's your first step. So you just cut this whole seam off. Okay, and I wanted to talk to you about rag rugs a little, and the rugs that I'm making right now are often termed toothbrush rugs, and that's because during the Depression at that time, the toothbrushes that they made had a large hole in the handle, and that's what they used to thread their thread through. So these are known as toothbrush rugs. And of course, during the Depression, now you're going to go up about 1 inch and cut another strip. During the Depression, they saved everything. They just, couldn't go out to the store to buy rugs. And so they used every scrap of material that they had to make their own rugs. But it's definitely becoming a lost art. And so I became really interested in doing it. And I want to show you too. Okay, so now we have our strip from about 1 inch wide strip from the t-shirt. On one end where it's looped, go ahead and cut that. Okay, and then you want to come down and fold your material over. I do both at the same time. And you make a small cut right in the center, but not all the way to the end of the material. You'll see. Just enough there that when you, it'll make a little hole. Okay, but you don't go all the way to this end. You want that little hole there, and you'll see why soon here. Okay, and then you, now this bottom part, that's what I saved for the scrap rug that I have. Save that. So you just keep going all the way up, making these strips about 1 inch wide. When you get up to the armpit of the shirt, okay, and I'll show you on here, sure that it's good and flat and that your seam matches. Go ahead and cut the arm off. And just so you know, none of your cuts or whatever have to be perfect. They are absolutely not going to show in your rug. Okay, so I just cut the sleeve right off, and I will use this for something else as well. And once you get your sleeves off, you still have more material up here that you can cut strips out of. You just keep cutting an inch at a time, all the way up to the neckline. Okay, so that's how you do a t-shirt and how you make your strips from a t-shirt. Now, my other favorite to use in these rugs are pajama pants. Okay, and for the pajama pants, you kind of do the same thing. We're going to go down to the bottom. We're going to cut that seam off. And on the pajama pants, you basically just deconstruct the pants. So you're going to cut the bottoms off. You're going to cut the waistband completely off, okay? Then turn your material inside out. Okay, and you're going to cut, once you get it inside out, you're going to cut this entire seam off, just right at the seam. And you just do this for the entire pants, and you will end up with 4. So that's, you know, cutting that seam off. Your little strip will only be this big. Then you're going to have 4 long pieces of material to cut strips out of, and they work great. So I do love finding the pajama pants. Now, you can also use sheets, and that's what they were originally, rag rugs were originally made out of. And you just cut those in strips. That's very simple. I would caution, when you do the sheets, there are lots of threads that come off. And I noticed in the rugs that I use sheets with, they don't turn out as smooth and nice looking. And they also have no elasticity. So as you're going farther and farther around, they get a little stiffer and stiffer. So I really prefer using this kind of material in whatever way you can find it. You can also, another excellent source is maxi skirts and dresses, because you can get really long strips. Now you have to understand that as you're making your rug, you add a strip at a time. So if you have really short little strips, you're going to be doing a lot of that, okay? Putting them together, having to stop. But if you have nice long strips, you don't have to do that nearly as often, and your rug comes together much more quickly. Okay, and then let's see, those are my favorites. So you just want the longest strips possible, a stretchy kind of material. You do cut all of your strips before you start. So the first process is not necessarily what you would say fun, but you want to have all those strips cut so that you don't have to stop in the middle of your rug and cut more and then stop again and cut more. You cut everything before you get started. And for the rugs that I've got right now, the ones I just showed you, the large rugs took about 7 items of clothing, And the smaller rugs, you need at least 5. So you want to have 5 pairs of pajama pants, or 5 t-shirts, 5 skirts, some, you know, any mix and match between them, but that's about how many you need. And if you're going to make a really large one, you would need at least 10 to 15 items. So there we go. That is part 1, and I'll be right back, and we're going to get one started.